episode of Tales from the Tidewater, a actual play 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons play podcast. Yes, that one. I'm your dungeon master, Alan, and with me are everybody else, and they will introduce themselves right after I finish this sentence.
Is that me? Should I go?
It is
Yes.
you.
Yeah. No, I'm Fuzz, and I'll be playing the part of Timothy.
I'm Josh, and I will be playing Cut and Run.
I'm Rachel, and I'll be playing Hope.
And nobody else is here yet.
And joining us soon will be
Les and Astro.
Les and Astro. Les playing Athena, and Astro playing Psalm.
Yeah, they will be here. They will join us shortly. We just need to start making jokes about how they had to go do something outrageous, they had to go I don't know, steal the Declaration of Independence or something. I guess that could be treason, so maybe we shouldn't say that.
Yeah, and until they get back, we'll be making goblins walk tightropes. Stay tuned.
So yeah.
Dance for the goal. Dance!
We are back. I think after this week, I think we should more or less be on a regular streaming schedule. If not every week, at least every other week again, back our normal schedule. I think that's something we're still working on. So let's go ahead and roll some 20-sided die and see who would like to recap what happened last time we gathered around this virtual table.
Got a 5.
I got a 7.
I also got a 5. Reroll, Fuzz.
Well, it doesn't matter because Josh rolled a 7.
Oh, is it the highest or the
I
lowest?
thought we were doing lowest.
Highest now.
It's always been highest.
No take backs.
No take backs.
Wait, chat, back me up. It's always been the highest, right? God damn it! I can't remember what I've set.
You sick bastard.
Okay. Everybody re-roll once again, and then we'll take the highest.
No.
Oh, God. This is when I get a nat 20. Oh, 15.
I mean, you were highest before anyway.
I know.
I got a 60. There you go. That's lowest, right?
14. Ha!
All right. Oh, well, before we do that, apparently, Anthony can't believe it, but he says that I could be a smidge louder. So that's a first.
Yeah, it is.
So we're going to go in and just adjust me just a hair. And I will be a little bit higher now. So let's see how that goes. And I don't know why I popped out my Discord screen, because I don't adjust my volume through Discord. Fuzz, would you like to inform the rest of the class what happened last week? After your cat gets its butt out of the computer.
Hold on. I got a screaming child under the table.
Oh yeah, take care of that.
Huh, sounds like middle school art class all over again.
I'll go ahead and do the recap then instead. I'll fall on that blade.
Okay.
All
Thank you,
right.
Rachel.
So last time, sometimes you gotta just do the thing when you got screaming children in the other.
I mean, you're also
the
the one
other
that takes
area.
notes.
I know. Not that I actually remember what I write. So we are helping the Eulenberger clan with their Fae problem. And then we also had, let's see, I don't know why I wrote that down. Anyways, we were chatting with Barney Eulenberger. We read the letter from Archduke Nuna of the Southwest section. So we headed out onto a game trail, found some boot tracks, and then a couple party members saw a white stag off in the distance before it pretty much just blinked away. So we avoided the tracks that led off until we realized we came full circle somehow. Magic Forest, who knows? To where we could either head back to the Eulenberger shop or go back over to the boot prints. So we went off. We found a clearing. We fought some blue pixies. We killed them to death. And then we ran into some other Fae.
We killed them unto death.
Yep. Did I stutter?
Did I stutter? Very good. Yeah, that is basically where we're at. So, you all were surrounded by Fae after taking out the group of Fae with tiny little guns. they had summoned they had broken a ice crystal onto the ground, summoned a giant ice troll, which you all handily took care of. There was one of them that had some magic, and they were casting some magic. Fuzz, I will be the bearer of good news, and Rachel took care of the recap for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So she was your savior. So you were surrounded by tiny little men with tiny little guns. Not the ones that you took out. A different group that kind of magicked their way in, and you had a different group that of Fae. And I believe they told you that if they told you if you wanted to, excuse me. If they told you if you wanted to remain living, that you would put your weapons down and tell them what you're doing here.
Okay, so we are telling them what we're doing here now?
Yes, and you see,
Alright.
so we're live into it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
We're telling them very carefully, very specific terms what we're doing here.
uh-oh.
Baby! Oh no! Alright, so we're telling them, yes, what we're doing here. So, as the person with the highest charisma in our group, I will take the lead and tell them that we represent,
The lollipop
the interest.
No, don't say it.
joke.
What?
I already just said it.
The what?
I made a Wizard of Oz joke.
Oh. How dare. I can't go on like this. I can't work like this. So I will tell them that we are representing the interests of the Eulenberger clan, and that we would like to speak to their leader.
All right, so a humanoid woman that is actually looks like she's actually a little bit taller, like more like I want to say dwarf sized.
Mm-hmm.
Think like the size of the fairies in the Artemis Fowl series.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't have to talk about the terrible live action adaptation that they did this past year. She's basically the size of like a dwarf or a like large gnome or halfling, and kind of like walks up. And she's got short cut hair, kind of like combed over to the side, shaved on the other. But it's like very like military in the way that it's like done up, and she's wearing a uniform, which are green fatigues, but like kind of like a more not like your traditional camo. They're kind of like more shimmery, if that makes sense. Like it looks like there's probably some magic woven into it, and she's got a couple of metal badges and stuff, like pinned to her chest and lapel area. And she comes forward and she's like, "The only reason you all aren't dead right now is that you were tangling with the enemy. So you have exactly 30 seconds to tell us why we shouldn't put you down in the pit and forget you're there."
Well, I'm not to waste time, but I am just trying to formulate. You don't want to do that because you'll bring down the wrath of the bugbears and our very fearsome boss, Marvin. Marvin the Terrible.
Did you mean owlbears or bugbears?
Yeah, I was gonna say DM insert. Did you mean owlbears?
Where
said
owlbears? Yeah, sorry.
bugbears are definitely a different creature.
No, that's fair. That's
I will
fair.
retcon that you said owlbears.
Thank you. Yeah, please, if I make such obvious mistakes. And I'm gonna roll persuasion just to give it a little more oomph. So that is going to be a 16. Persuade them.
And she kind of like looks at you, and she's like, "I know the owlbears, the humanoids that live on the eastern edge of our territory. Why would they be involved with them? We haven't touched anything of their area."
That's a good question.
Do you have any
So,
proof?
do you know of an Archduke Nuna?
And at the name of her like gaze goes from like stern and just kind of like goes slack and just kind of almost angry, and then she turns backwards and like she turns to one of her subordinates and she's like, "Would you please bring Archduke Nuna to the field? He's needed." And then so she just kind of like she kind of relaxes a little bit but she's like very much like she's just like very, you can tell that she's like irritated but also kind of like enjoying about what's about to happen. And so one of her subordinate comes out, like one of her like privates or something like that, another like lesser not non-officer that's part of her group, comes back with a tiny little sprite, and he has a backpack like filled with like scrolls and papers, and like he also has like a smartphone and is kind of like tweeting and text or whatever, like actively working on it. And he kind of looks up and he hooks up. Yes, Commander Meridian, you needed to see me. And she just looks at him and he's like, "Archduke Nuna, would you care to explain to me why on earth these outsiders are claiming that there's a missive from you permitting travel through a certain segment of the forest?" And he's kind of got a bluish kind of, or no, not bluish, that's the other group. He's kind of got like a very like earthy kind of like skin tone to him, like very like tan brown, like just like they spend a lot of time outside, and it goes like pales immensely. And why don't you all give me an insight check?
That's a terrible poker face he's got going on there.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Well, yeah, there's a reason for that.
How do a 19 do?
4.
9.
9. Okay, so Hope, you see on his lapel, you see what looks like, you don't know a whole lot about military rank, but you see that
I do.
Yeah, actually, yes, you do. So actually, you give me advantage on that, Tim, because I think, but even from like, I'm gonna assume that you roll better than a 9 with your advantage.
22.
Yes, but
Hey!
between the two of you, you don't know a whole lot about military rank, Rachel, but you know that the lesser things that are pinned to your chest usually means that there's not as much rank involved there. And it's like he turns to who you know now as Captain Meridian, the officer that was addressing you, and and he just kind of turns to you and is just like, you found what? the owlbears? And he kind of like looks up at his commanding officer, and he's like, I thought that, and forgive me for like acting out of turn, I thought that it would be a bit fun to just send out a little prank message. Just like
Under my breath, I look at Fuzz and I go, "Ooh, he's in trouble."
Oh, I'm stifling much laughter.
And so like Commander Meridian kind of like pushes her she kind of like rubs her like thumb and forefinger between her nose, and it's just like, and she just like turns to one of the others, just like, Lieutenant, would you just please take Nuna to his usual like abode for now? We'll deal with this when we get back to Eventide. And so he's just like, he just like gets dragged away like arm in arm by two other like lower officers than the commander. Captain. I don't remember which rank did I say. Do you all remember?
You said captain.
I said captain. Yeah.
I'll go with captain.
I will be taking notes on like what I can observe of their military structure.
we'll also brief about this after the stream and maybe some other time this week to really go over the military structure, because I, as a person, don't know a whole lot about like how that is, but soon.
Right.
And so
what was the name of the town Meridian mentions? Just for my notes.
Eventide. Yeah. And that's
Okay.
spelled Eventide. Like the Magic the Gathering expansion. Those of you
Very
who
good.
remember.
Very good.
Lots of
Thank you.
Kithkin from that set, which is but there's a whole other thing to it. And so
that was the Grease set, wasn't it?
no, that was Theros. The one they put a D&D supplement out for, actually. So Meridian turns back to you, and she's like, while you're still outsiders, and I do appreciate you like acting on behalf of your own and your interests, we can't have you wandering around in a war zone territory. So we are going to have to ask you to come along with us. This will go much better for you if you come along peacefully. You all seem like smart sorts, but we will take you by force if necessary.
Okay, well, we do want to avoid that level of conflict with you. So am I to take it that the missive from Archduke so and so, because I'm like specifically talking down about him at this point because I know he ain't shit.
Communications officer Nuna likes to take it upon himself to get creative during his duty stations. So that will be something we will have to rectify when we get back to our camp. In the meantime, we would like to brief with you and find out if, just brief with you about your encounter with Winter and what you know. And so we can maybe come to an agreement. Does that sound savvy?
Savvy, indeed.
I'll whisper to Rachel about to be Archduke demoted.
I also didn't describe Nuna very well. He's kind of got like very short, unruly hair that looks like he probably gets yelled at a lot about not meeting standards for dress code with his personal grooming as far as his hair and stuff like that. A little bit of a scatterbrain, a little bit of a Jean Ralphio energy from Parks and Rec. Or from Space. That actor was also in Space Force. I don't know if you all watched that. Who was he in
Space Force?
He was Steve Carell's character's like social media rep. He's like the thin guy with the black hair, and it's kind of like flippy. I can't remember the name of the actor off the top of my head, but that's kind of who I'm picturing. Just like small.
Gotcha.
Because he is definitely smaller than Captain Meridian. So
I'll take out my note down that they have communications officers in the ferry military.
Perfect.
Noah Ferry,
so
if you will.
We'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and follow them to their forward camp of operations. Sorry, Josh, you were going to say something.
Oh, sorry, I came in late there. Ben Schwartz.
Ben Schwartz is the name of the actor. Yes, thank you. I could not think of that. He's a very funny man. So yes, so you all, I assume that, let's take a moment here. I do believe that Astro is with us.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Astro. We found out that Archduke Nuna from the letter ain't shit, and we're currently following Captain Meridian to their base of operations something camp, to talk about the encounter we just had with the Winter, she said.
All right,
just to bring you up to speed. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay,
all right.
Super. So you all agree? You agree, so you do it. So you all are led peacefully. You're allowed to keep your weapons and such, which is actually like pretty surprising, considering the circumstances. Which it appears you've wandered into a eldritch war zone of sorts. So
they just want to explode several enemy ferries. I don't think they want to fight us right now.
Yeah, but they are. You also, I know it's been a while. Well, no, I guess that was last episode. You do remember that they also did explode the hell out of that ice troll with a flaming pumpkin. So,
I mean, yes.
Yeah.
so, so you guys are.
If it makes any difference, I just rolled another 16 for my persuasion. So I could even just say to Meridian, like, if we you would seek to, take away our weapons in a literal war zone, like, we don't mean you guys any harm at this point, so
Yeah.
if that makes any difference to the keeping our weapons debate.
Yeah, they're not super worried about that. They've got you outnumbered, like 2 or 3 to 1, something like that. There's a good many of them.
That's fair.
And they have pumpkins.
Yep. Do they have the pray tell the the skull next to their names as the level icon? Like, is that what we're talking about here? Because that's what I'm imagining.
You get the picture that, like, there's most of them are probably like not that they're about the same as the ones you took on. They're dressed very similarly and like seem similarly equipped, but there's just the volume of them. What you took on seemed to have been more of a scouting party. This seems to be more of like a full unit of like the scouting party was very unfortunate because if you hadn't encountered them, this group would have, and it would have been a very one-sided encounter. I'd say there's probably about 20 or so of them among the group, with like varying degrees of firearms.
Gotcha.
Another thing I'd like to point out before the internet yells at me, their firearms, from what those of you who got shot with it, they didn't feel like they were made of metal. It seemed like they were made of some sort of polycarbonate.
The bullets themselves or the guns themselves?
The bullets, but you would probably guess that the guns were also. There's probably some magic going on to make sure that everything like doesn't melt or anything with the polycarbonates and stuff, with the amount of temperature that firearms usually generate.
Well, certainly can't be metal, so.
Well, they can't be
Well,
iron.
it can't be iron.
But I don't know if that's made in if that's used in typical firearms. But I don't want to take any chances before the internet can yell at me. So I'm just saying that this made of some other MacGuffin material.
MacGuffin material.
MacGuffin material.
That's a good band name.
Yeah. And we have Les with us as well. Perfect timing. We were just getting into it.
Another recap. We're following the actual Fae commander to their base after finding out that communications officer Nuno was full of shit.
Yeah. Archduke Nuna turned out to be communications officer Nuna, who likes to spread the truth a little bit, and he is going to be dealing with some very court-martial-y type consequences, possibly, in his near future.
Yep.
Okay.
Alright, so, and you are being escorted back to camp, so you kind of wander through the... you go... So when you out of that clearing, you kind of keep going across that clearing, but then you go to the other side of the trail, and you cut off into the left, and there's where there was what seemed like a normal trail path. Not the trail that you came from, mind you. This is across the opposite side. I want to make sure that's clear. You're going further into the greenwood. Do these other bullets do less or different damage? I don't think that they do less than the current bullets. I think, and when I actually have time to sit down and like stat them properly, they will probably do similar, on par with other firearms of the same type, but probably just a little bit less over, not because of their material, but because of the size. To answer that question in the Twitch chat. So you go through and you follow along. Actually, I will say you don't see much of it because they do. They don't put bags on your head or anything as primitive of that. They have some of one of their what looks like one of their wizards come over, or druids, or even one of their spellcasters, and they all kind of like cast a spell over top of your eyes, and you all are temporarily blinded. So basically, to hide the protect from you revealing the location of their forward camp to anybody else.
Gotcha.
So, and you're maybe only walking. Are any of you doing anything as you're walking through?
I already tried detect magic in this forest, and that blew up in my face. So probably not.
Yeah.
So no, yeah, probably not anything else.
Gotcha.
What happened when you did detect magic before? I don't remember.
It gave me like a borderline migraine, and I said, "Well, that's a bad idea," and I did not do it again.
The
Right.
The concentration of magic in the forest was just so overwhelming that it was really hard to really concentrate on it long without like being overwhelmed. So the main things that you did pick up from her use of it previously was that you could, I believe it was enchantment and illusion, and I don't remember the other one off the top of my head.
Don't worry about it.
Maybe abjuration. That sounds right, but I can't remember offhand.
Yeah, that's kind of like shielding magic and things like that. So
it was a lot of that type of stuff that you would expect.
Yeah.
So you all are wandering, being led, I should say, for about maybe 5 to 10 minutes, and then suddenly you all have your vision cleared, and you are in what only seems to be like a Sherwood Forest meets the Ewok Village type of encampment within the trees. There's lots of like levels and like various like positions of height advantage where there's lots of archers and bowmen stationed, along with presumably people that you can't even see. But there's also like plenty of like big like stumps of trees that have been felled that are acting as like tables for there's a big like table, what it looks like be like a redwood sized tree towards the back of the camp. You can see there's a lot of people like inside of a tent over top of it, like focused around, and as you like they see like people like coming in, they close the flaps of the tent so you can't see within. And there's a med tent, which is built up underneath of like the branches of a tree, and they have some hammocks strung from it, acting as kind of like stretchers and like hospital beds type of things, like to keep people to use the most of their space. And it seems like there's a decent amount of like wounded, more than what would seem appropriate for considering the size of the force that escorted you here.
Mm-hmm.
And you get taken actually to a tree, which is kind of like has, those swamp trees that have like really big roots that you can almost like climb underneath of. There's one like that has a that it looks almost like a sort of chamber within it, and she motions you, Commander Meridian motions you to it, and you all go into it, and then she nods to one of her aides, and then they kind of murmur, and then like it kind of like the roots kind of don't close up, but they kind of do prevent you from really moving from that spot. And she looks at your alarmed looks. Nobody likes being put in an enclosed space, especially when they didn't even know that that type of creatures existed. And she puts her hands up and is like, "Look, we're not here to like rob you or imprison you unjustly, but we're in the middle of a war right here, so we have to do everything that we can to protect us and ours. Understand? I'm going to go brief with my superiors, and then we will come back, hopefully within the day, and we will talk about what our next steps are." And she looks at you. We'll provide some rations for you, so you don't need to worry about that. And I'll be back as soon as I can. And she seems like she means that. I don't know if you all you can roll insight on that if you want, but I think from Rachel's insight earlier, I think she can kind of tell that, like, she while she is, like, not somebody you're familiar with, she seems like somebody that isn't really super familiar with fudging the truth very much.
Yeah, 16 will probably tell me most of that. So
Yeah,
I got
she
a 15 plus
she's-
3.
Yeah, she seems pretty trustworthy based on that.
Cool.
I don't know if anybody else got better or worse, and
I'm just gonna leave her. But when she says when they say that we're going to be that, it sounds like that we might be here longer than the day if they don't come back with an answer today. So
I mean,
when I kind of get that impression,
I think, especially with your experience in the military, you understand that nothing goes quickly. There's like steps and like procedures that you have to go through, and so if their military is at all set up like the military that you served in, it is probably going to be a very similar situation. But you again with Rachel's insight, you can kind of get the feeling that her hands are kind of tied. Like while you all did do them a favor with, like, you were clearly not on the side of their enemy. On that same token, they don't know anything about you.
No, and that's fair. But basically, like when I get the idea that okay, we might be here for today, like we might not be going home tonight, I'm gonna check and see if my cell phone gets any reception.
It does not.
Oh, D's gonna be mad.
Possibly.
Checks to know if I know sending. I don't, unfortunately.
Yeah, with no cell service, whenever they do come back, I will, or if there's like a guard nearby, I will ask if there's any way to get a magical message so that my family doesn't worry that I'm dead and with goblins feasting on me somewhere.
Yeah.
I was gonna say here's what you say is you say I believe that Archduke Nuna owes me a personal favor for bringing us here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The communications officer owes me one. Get him over here.
Yeah, exactly.
So there is a guard nearby, and they turn to you, and they I will say something to the when we shift duties. The one that is going to be coming will be bringing you your rations for the afternoon. Actually, probably evening. I'd say it's probably getting closer to evening at this point, because I believe that it was afternoon by the time that we were dealing with the encounter in the clearing.
Okay.
And so we'll do our best.
Okay, I will give him my thanks and speak and address him in what I understand to be proper military fashion. Now, whether that translates directly, I don't know, but try to show him appropriate politeness and respect.
Okay, he nods and turns back to his attention, and then sure enough, another 45 minutes or so come and go. And the guard does change. They kind of the other guard, as she comes up, your guard that was previously where he steps forward and like kind of talks to her in confidence up ahead, and they nod to each other, and so they bring in the rations to you. Briefly open up the roots that are holding you a captive, and place down a plate with what mostly appears to be a lot of, like, there's some like hard cheese and some berries and a couple pieces of bread. Like, there's no meat or anything, but it does seem like it is a modest but filling spread. And so,
okay, is it fairy-sized proportions or is it human-sized portions of food?
They've brought you human-sized portions of food, so it is enough for the 5 of you. And so that is where you're at. So you are left alone for a little bit. Do you all interact with one another as you are kind of stuck in a tree, so to speak?
Probably at least make some small talk, I suppose. Just, well, this fucking sucks.
Mm-hmm. Who is probably gonna give another swing at like detect magic, but she's gonna like turn down the volume on it and like meditate while she does it to see if she can pick out any other like particular threads. Does that roll
That's-
okay for you? I think
that
that would be interesting for her to just kind of work it a little bit.
that seems fair.
Mhm.
I think you're going to have to tell me what specific thing you want to focus on, I think, as the trade-off for that.
Sure. Mostly she just wants to be able to tune out like the excess noise from it so it doesn't like totally throttle her. So that if a new like odd kind of magic, something apart from the hum of the forest, comes
Okay.
to the like can come to the fore. So that's kind of what she's looking to accomplish with the time, otherwise unoccupied.
Okay. So you are able to do that. You kind of
Mhm.
meditate. You get kind of your surroundings. You get your usual like vibes of like natural magic like coming off of Psalm, and then your own kind of magic
Mhm.
showing up in its aura, and then you don't sense really any. You sense the magic that is directly around the tree, as I'm going to call that abjuration magic. I think
Mhm.
would be the most appropriate.
Mhm.
Offhand, please correct me if that is not correct, but I think abjuration by nature is defensive or protective.
I think so too,
Yeah,
offhand.
that
So
sounds right. I should know this. Like, I've played Wizards before. They usually
there's a
die, but
reason the D&D has reference books, so don't worry about it.
yeah, I just hate to like peel away from my book, like peel away from the monitor as the one driving the bus, so to speak, to like look at like let me look at the 9 schools of magic and figure out which one of these it is. Um, Psalm, this is kind of like really in your wheelhouse. How is Psalm dealing with all this? Because I know that you tried to negotiate with what you found out later to be Winter Fae, and that did not really go so well. So I know Astro, were not here for the actual last bit of play. But what has Psalm been doing and thinking about as he's been kind of led through the woods like this?
Well, for now, he's probably just going to be meditating, trying to figure out what's going on. He's not sure what to make out of all.
Yeah. Yeah. This is something out of like even your area of expertise, because like I said previously, most people weren't aware that there was, you know, an organized group of Fae in the Greenwood, let alone 2 organized groups at war, and with the possibility of a civilization and or city somewhere here. So this is a lot of information coming to all of you at once.
He will try to document what he can, like from his perspective of this side, but when he gets a chance, he's probably going to try to document opposing forces.
Okay. The opposing forces, meaning the ones that you already encountered, or these ones?
I guess that would be Winter, since they were the ones that were attacking him.
Yes. Also, trying to make sure you keep your mic close to your mouth.
Okay. He'll probably try to listen to guards, see if there's any rumors spreading around. Try to keep those recorded.
Okay. Why don't you give me, if you're actively trying to listen to if the guards are like, have any chatter between them, or, why don't you give me a perception check?
All right, 1 minute.
Four.
I mean, you can listen, I guess, if you want. Specifically, Psalm was looking to listen to the guards, but yeah, 4 is not great.
I got 14.
14. Okay. You hear, they'll go back and forth. Occasionally, like a bit further away, you'll kind of like hear a little grumbling of like, "Can't believe we wasted, like, like 12 whole rations worth food on these outsiders, and like kind of like grumbling about that, and then you hear some of them kind of like the atmosphere is very tense from what you can tell. It's like between you notice that there's not that the like security is pretty high, like hence like why you were all brought in without your vision, and you don't really see a whole lot of other groups of troops coming in besides the one that came in, because like the group that brought you in pretty much went back out immediately, and you have not seen another group since then. But other than that, you'll hear little snippets of people asking about like, have you heard anything from your family, and it would be like little bits here and there, nothing like super promising. You get the impression that these troops have been out for a while.
Okay.
Yeah. Hob in the chat said, if there's one rule I live by, it's to never trust a fairy tree.
That's fair. Also, I'll do probably similar to Sam and be like taking notes, not necessarily listening, but like noting what I see as far as like what kind of armament,
Military
like arms
structure.
the soldiers carry. Yeah, like their military structure, like how big their groups are when they go out. I will definitely be making note of their pumpkin bomb capabilities.
Right. And like how long the guard shifts are and how many patrols you see walking by, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's not a big encampment. You can pretty much see most of it from where you're at. It's kind of like a hollow, almost, just like built up. Equal parts like Sherwood Forest, equal parts like the Great Deku Tree from Ocarina of Time. Like, it's like very like a natural type of place, just like less spider webs and skulltulas. But you'll Fuzz, you being a military minded person, you'll notice like you take notes of some ranks and stuff like that. The ones that are guarding you are pretty low rank, nothing too outrageous there. You'll see the command tent open every now and then. You'll see someone come out in and out very quickly. Never anybody that seems to be the one of the ones that you saw from in there. Mostly aides and stuff like that. So there's a lot of information running. You'd say that the guard shifts probably change about every 2 to 3 hours. And as you all are kind of like taking notes of that, guess like anybody like singing like some prison songs like like while they're just waiting, like it's cut like rattling the bars like running his claws up and like just like sharpening his claws on the tree branches or something.
How soft is the dirt? Because we need to dig our way out. I'm just kidding.
It's like kind of like most like dirt around trees. It's like it's soft-ish, but like you'd probably get the impression that there's a lot of roots and stuff underneath that would probably hinder your progress. And eventually, like when your other guard comes back, he does he turns and addresses to all of you, and it's like you all have one message that you can send to the outside. It can be no less than basically it's going to follow the rules of the sending spell. So because there is absolutely like no technology, like no cell signal, and if you have like any GPS devices, like none of that stuff is picking up out here.
Okay, how many words is that for the sending spell that we get to use?
And it's
Less.
Up to 25.
25 words.
Okay, that's
so you
enough.
get one of them for all of you together. So
Fuzz can send that. I don't need to send anything to anybody at this point, so just let Fuzz use it.
Okay, so it's one for all of us.
yes.
So I'll talk to the group. I'll talk to the group, and she's playing with my dice.
It's all right.
There's no more of them in the box. But so I'll talk to the group, and I think the best thing is to I think sending the message to Marv, so Marv knows that hey, we're okay, even though the truck's not going to be back tonight. We're fine. And
That's what he cares
could
about.
you call D? Exactly. And can you call D and let them know again, that we're okay, and I won't be home tonight, but but I'm fine. That was probably more than 25 words, but
We can
putting
paraphrase
that
that.
into
Yeah.
a cohesive 25 words. Yeah.
We don't need to spend time on stream like counting
Yes.
syllables or whatever.
Thank you.
So your guard nods, and he like, of course, and he goes away to what you assume is like where the magical comm tower is within their complex, which you do actually not see from your field of view. That is one thing that you do not know exactly where it is. You just assume that it's probably up. Go ahead.
I do have Animal Messenger if we can find animals as well.
Doesn't the spell doesn't provide an animal?
No, it says use an animal to deliver a message. Choose a tiny beast you can see within range.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, you don't really see any animals just as of right now. There's like this place is pretty like Loctite on security at the moment, so it might be that their activity has kind of kept a lot of the natural flora, the fauna actually rather, from being as active in the camp as it normally might have been. But
Okay.
so you do get that message out, so you all can sleep a little bit easier, knowing that you at least your loved ones and your boss know that you're not like dead in a fairy ditch somewhere. And so like the rest of it does go move in tonight. You still, there's the guards change another time. You all are kind of so you can use this opportunity to take a long rest, because basically it's going to go pretty uneventful throughout the night, and you all will be able to get a full rest, get all your hit points, or use your hit dice and spell points back. So that's kind of where we're at. So do you all, I know you all were kind of like in close environs, but do you all like set any kind of watch just to like kind of keep an eye on like your captors?
Yeah.
I think that makes sense.
I'll go ahead and take first watch.
I'll take second. I'm a cat.
Okay, I'll take third. Just be up early.
Also, you don't need to use hit dice on a long rest. You just regain all hit points, right?
Yes.
That's a short rest.
Yeah,
thing.
that's short rest. Sorry, I was
Okay. No problem.
farting.
Just didn't want you to get roasted in chat.
Yeah. They're
Too late.
Roast them.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not like super long. I don't think. So I think Fuzz kind of said that he was going to be the one that was going to stay up late or be up in the morning. So it really, nothing really happens to you all. You all are kind of like in I'm going to say quotation mark safe area. Like there's not really any chance of like wild encounters, but the morning does come around, and you are actually, as Fuzz as you're kind of like you're spending your time in the morning like on your watch while everybody else is sleeping, kind of continuing to just kind of watch the camp, really trying to get a idea, because this is fascinating for you as like a ex-military, and B as like somebody who spends a lot of time out in the wilderness, and like who is somebody who has dealt with the Fae previously, again part of the military, but and so
I asked all the guards if they know someone named Jimmy that they stole like 20 years ago.
They're like, no. where
Jimmy?
Do we I don't know if we've gone over this. Where do we have any like sort of like set idea of where Tim served, like in his previous? Was there like kind of a general idea of like what kind of operations that he was doing previously, or is that not really determined at this point?
It was overseas, and he was doing like it would have been like scout cavalry stuff. It's kind of like going along with like that ranger class. So he would have been doing like forward scouts, forward operations stuff.
So like the what is it? The survey corps from Attack on Titan kind of stuff.
Jump
Scout
brigade.
With less jumping around.
Yeah, I mean, like, but they were the ones that were kind of like out checking stuff out first. That's what morale's getting at.
But yes,
it's
recon, not survey corps.
I don't know.
Chumps on ropes.
It's been like 5 years since I've watched any Attack on Titan, so I'm rusty.
Well, it's gotten terrible.
I'm just imagining them going handing out surveys to the Titans as they're swinging around the trees.
I think it was a translation thing because I thought the actual like Japanese was like survey corps maybe, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. So, like, I was thinking I was thinking like survey, not like paper survey, but like surveying surveying the land, I think. But either way, that less of the jumping around stuff. But you are kind of like, you notice you see Captain Meridian heading your way, and she gets close to you and like, I trust that your accommodations were well despite the circumstances.
Well enough.
Yeah, she kind of like glances over her shoulder. She just kind of shrugs. Like,
I mean, that came out ruder than I intended, but it's like, yeah, you did what you could.
Yeah, she's like, I understand.
We love a good dirt nap.
Yeah. So.
No, not like that.
No, not a dirt nap. Your eternal dirt nap.
Oh.
And so she does like motion to like rouse the rest of your group, and she's like, the high command will see you. The high field command will see you now, and so we will see you in their in the command tent. And she's like, for this, we will actually ask that we do possess your weapons for this brief amount of time. Yeah, I know. Rachel's just like.
Okay.
Yep.
Woo-hoo.
Oh no.
So I can see the same look on Les's face.
Rachel and Wes and Astor are just like, oh man, that must be rough not having your weapons on you. I mean, you guys do have some stuff. Like, I think like Athena's got a quarterstaff with her, I think, and like,
Yeah.
Sam has like some sort of like simple weaponry or whatever. Everybody's got a little bit of stuff.
Slingshot.
Yeah, I've got some daggers and a crossbow that I hand over.
Are you still like meditating, Rachel, or did you stop that after you went to bed?
Oh no, yeah, I stopped and when we went to bed.
Okay, so you're no longer like focusing on that.
Yeah, I'm all. I figure I got that kind of squared away. So. Gotcha.
All right, so they do. So nobody resists, I'm assuming.
No, I give
Yeah.
I give up myself easy.
Yeah, you get. That's good. Don't have any Leroy Jenkins in this party. They just want to go like buck wild.
Athena's just pulling darts from everywhere, like up.
That was one man, not a party.
Yeah,
yes, no. Athena is the trope, the too many weapons trope.
Like, wait, there's one in my ear. Up, here we go.
The relic.
Oh God, yeah.
For some reason, you said there's one in
Right?
your ear. I just imagine you pulling a dart from someone else's ear like a magic trick.
Relic
There we go.
Relic is 100% that person at like LARP events.
That will just throw out an entourage of weapons.
Is like, okay, here's a short sword. I got a dagger, like I'm strapped to my back, like pull off. I had a quiver of arrows on my back. Here's my battle wagon. And so you all are, you have all your gear, and they keep it. They show you where they put it. They have it with a very well armed group of guards that are nearby, but they are kept nearby you. It's within your sight. They're not like hiding it away anywhere. And so you are brought into the tent, which is held up. The tent is actually not it doesn't seem to be staked into the ground at all. It seemed to actually be suspended from the top peaks of it seem to be suspended from the tree branches above it, and so they are actually like hooked on instead of having like poles and stuff. All of the tree branches like directly above the tent are supporting it almost entirely. There's a couple of like there's probably some what you would imagine some sort of magical things keeping the bottom portions of the tent from like blowing up everywhere. But it is a fairly large tent, about I want to say Game of Thrones like briefing tent, like battle tent size. You know, like where Tywin Lannister would like have a big map of like little figurines on it and stuff like that. That kind of like deal. Like they have like some like they all have stools and stuff that seem to be made of like twisted wood, like all like seated around it. And as you all enter, you see all the heads turn towards you, and you see a variety of like hues and colors of like creatures. You see what seem like more sprites of like various shades of green and brown and yellow, and then you see there's a couple of like treants, like kind of like much bigger than what would appear to be able to fit into the tent, and they're kind of like hunched down and kind of like turning their head towards you, and like it sounds like a old door like creaking as they like their limbs and everything shift towards you. And then at the head of the table you see an elf. It looks like an elf, but it is unlike any elf you've ever seen before in your life. There's just like their skin is like flawless. Their like hair doesn't seem to be out of place, and what looks like to be a flower crown with a stag antlers kind of like rested as a part of it and kind of woven in as part of the crown, and just like a kind of very natural like flower crown type of stuff. And he is dressed in what appears to be the cleanest and shiniest set of armor that you've ever seen. And so he turns and all their attention is on you, and Captain Meridian kind of actually turns away from you, and well, it kind of turns to the side, I guess I should say, and is just like the Summer High War Council addresses the outsiders for briefing. And so, and she again dresses, and I turn you over to General Maple Court. And so that, what's that face for, Rachel?
That's all.
Okay, and so
Maple corn.
I stole it on a whim from something else. But
Maple corn.
More power
Court.
to you.
Maple Court. Not
Maple.
corn.
Well, even better.
It's a good last name, and I unabashedly steal it.
It's like, Canadian, eh?
Yeah.
Is it High Commander Maple Court? General Maple Court?
General Maple Court is what he's presented to you as.
Got it.
And is like, and he cuts right to the chase. Like, why are you here?
Well, it's actually a pretty simple
And he cuts
question
you off.
to answer.
And he cuts you off immediately. He's like, and he points to Sam. You speak our language. Why are you here? And he says that to you in Sylvan.
We had a job to do.
We were hired, I would say.
We were hired to figure out a dispute in the owlbears and the fairies.
the fairy. We have had no presence in the in that sector. So you mean to tell me that the
I
winter
produce
has?
a copy of the letter and slip it to Sam and be like, "Here, take this."
I don't believe you have a copy because it was
Fair enough.
the
It was shot.
no wait no I think you did the owl was shot, the letter was intact. I think that was the case.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I forgot. So you none of you can, unless you understand Sylvan. He is still speaking in Sylvan directly to Sam.
That's fair.
Joking.
I look to Rachel. And, do you have that letter thingy?
Yeah, I'll pass it to him. Whew.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
Here you go.
teamwork.
We found this. So we found this letter sent to the owlbears, and we were just trying to figure out what's going on. And here you go. Take a look.
And so you all are kind of kept like back toward. You're not really that close to them. Like they're keeping you back a little bit. But I guess Meridian is going to take the paper and moves forward towards the high table, the war table, I should say. And she's like, "This was the incident I informed you about, sir, with the communications officer Nuna. But it must mean that there is movement from Winter." And she kind of like hands the paper over to in deference. And he looks over it. And he looks back up at you, and then he says again in common, he's like, "We're well familiar with our subordinates overstepping. What this means is we have looked into this, and whether he acted in accordance with our procedures, the information that he was passing on was valid. The winter forces have expanded over into a normally occupied sector, as there up until recently there's been no reason for any military activity within the east. And why don't you all? No, you don't need to make a roll for this. He's just gonna. And he like kind of looks around at the rest of the council, like looks especially towards the large treant, who has the largest like wooden eyebrows that you've ever seen. Is like the like Rock Lee level of like eyebrows off of this like tree. But a little more like grizzly and withered looking. Not withered, like overgrown, like tangled. And like kind of looks over to some of his other commanders and nods. And then he turns back to you. We have reason to believe that an unclaimed mana well has appeared in this sector by your allies outside of the Greenwood. So it leads me to believe that Winter may have found the same information as seeking to claim it for their own. And he says, "Yes, you with the formerly with the gun."
Oh, this is a question for you, Alan.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
I just don't want to talk over him. But what would be the appropriate knowledge skill to roll for what the fuck is a mana well?
I would say I would say for sure that would be an Arcana check.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay.
And I'm gonna, yeah. If anybody would like to roll that, they may.
17.
17. All right. You are
17 as well for me.
14.
16.
Wow.
Nice. Josh is like, I read about those once. Or cut is. Sorry.
I read about them in a comic book one time.
So, despite all of your good rolls, none of you have actually seen one of these in person. You've only... it's one of those things that, based on your understanding of magic, it seems like it would be something that would be a source of power for those who tap into natural magic. and it's so, and it's he turns to he looks at you and it, like, kind of sees the understanding, and it's like, normally we wouldn't be telling you any of this, but for one, we don't have the resources to hold you here. And again, I think he seems like the type who is not one to really beat around the bush. He is, like, unlike what you've heard of most of the Fae, he seems almost honest to a fault. Practical, I think, is the proper word that you would get, the vibe you would get from Maple Court. And so he turns to you and is like, I've spoken with my council here, and so we've come into a predicament. We can't let you leave, but we also can't let you stay, so we have an offer for you. As you can see, I don't know if you all have noticed, we are kind of in the middle of a major military engagement that we are not winning. If our
That last part comes as a surprise.
it's out of character. It should, like, from what I told you all, like, this showed that they had a lot of wounded and they didn't have very many, like, troops going in and out.
I guess that's true. I'm thinking about the fact that they, like, blew up a giant ice troll.
I think that was a matter of luck. I guess
Okay.
that context, I guess, would make you think. But he turns and he kind of he's been kind of, like, sitting down and kind of, like, addressing you from his stool, and he kind of stands up and comes around in front of the table. He's like, we have a proposal for you all. Our queen, and by extension, Winter's queen also is missing. We will allow you all to leave our forest. Should you do this favor for us, you know, we need our queen. The balance of power within the Greenwood, and by extension the surrounding area, the consequences would be absolutely disastrous if that were thrown out of balance. Did you have something, Rachel?
Clarification, both queens are missing?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Winter is flying as blindly as a bat as we are.
As a David.
As a David.
Has a
Blind
thing
as a
called-
David is a great joke that is only works in our game. Yes, that squad you encountered, if they had their full military might and their leadership, you would not have made it out of that encounter, and we would not have engaged. What encountered in the Great Clearing was purely a chance of luck for you all, and you all are lucky that they were so misled. Winter, while ruthless and very how shall I say, bloodthirsty, are with that bloodthirstiness comes at a cost in that they are not the most thoughtful of assailants in their lower ranks. So here's our deal. We will let you. We want you to find our queen. I don't really care about the Winter Queen, but I expect that wherever ours is, theirs is probably also, because this war's been going on for a long time, and they're both trying to find a way to make their side the victor. And with this new mana well, the tides have shifted. And he kind of sits back up on this war table, like, you know, kind of rests his knee up over top of his leg over top of his knee, and he kind of, like, just sits back and is like, what do you say, captives?
So, out of curiosity, if we don't want to get involved in this magical international incident, what would happen?
Well, then unfortunately, we would be forced to keep you. We would have to be forced to take you to Eventide, our capital, and you would remain there until such time that we would find proper use for you.
I'm assuming that this venture would not be without its rewards. We are first and foremost a business, and can't work for free, just like anybody else.
He
We pull out a
nods.
contract.
He nods.
Yeah. Pulls out a contract. Like
He nods.
no, but
He nods and he's like, "That's as expected. Should you be successful, we will allow you each to select an item from our armory, our vault, so to speak."
magic items. Okay.
I call dibs on the weird
Sorry.
shit.
You were you were gonna say something else, Alan?
I can just picture like Josh is just like, "Come on, alchemy jug." 2 pounds.
Mayonnaise.
2 pounds of mayonnaise. 2 gallons of mayonnaise.
After the comment of like, if you don't do it, we'll take you to our capital until we find a use for you. I was like mutter under my breath, and you said that Winter were the ruthless ones. Jeez.
Trust
Yeah.
me, Winter's plans for you would be much less hospitable.
Oh yeah, I get that sense. Their first plan was to kill us, so I mean, I'm already liking this better. What else was I gonna say? Oh, long shot out of character comment. Summer and Winter are dating and just wanted to get away from things for a while. I'm out here praying for some lesbian happiness.
Oh, are the both queens missing? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, Queen.
Something tells me they're off on a little vacation.
Yes.
I ship it.
All right. I ship it already. I ship it. I haven't even met him. Ship it. Anyways. So yeah, we'll confer for a minute as a group. Does anyone have any particular objections to doing this?
Considering the alternatives and the fact that we can get something out of it, no.
As far as like from what you know of the Fae, Fuzz, like this seems like a pretty decent deal.
Yeah.
Like I don't. This is a. You've definitely caught them, not at their best time for being in the negotiations chair.
I will. I know it's like kind of a joke about like Jimmy, but I will. We made it part of my backstory, so I legitimately asked, like, if we do this for you, I want to know what happened to Private Jimmy who went missing due to some Fae in like such and such area like 20 years ago. If you could look into that for me, that would be nice. His family deserves some answers.
We will send a message to our scholars in Eventide, and we will see if we can scry the answers you request.
I'm gonna say to their intelligence officers, right?
Yeah. Our scrying officers.
The scrying corps.
Well, I think this is more like less that the information you're looking for is probably would be like in a more civilian like group, like the more of like public records, like maybe I don't know. That's kind of what I was picturing, but I guess it's probably
like military historian, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. It's because it's like been so long, like it wouldn't necessarily be like something that the active like military forces would know, but. Just need the name, the full name, and time and place. And we can detail those later. You and I can chat about that off stream. And he turns to you all more seriously, and is like, "You all have 1 year. Do we have an agreement?" And he kind of puts his palm out in kind of like the opening cutscene of Kingdom Hearts, where like Riku is like holding his hand out for like Sora to grab it.
So clarification: we have a year to do this. I understand that part. Do we have a year to do this, and we're staying in the forest the entire year, or
No.
a year to search the world
If they were
for the
if
queen?
they were in the forest, they would be able to find them.
Okay.
Just wanted to. Again,
Oh,
Yes.
that makes a lot of
above
sense.
what
Okay.
I say, but clarification is important here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, being extremely clear with the Fae is
Yes.
vital.
That's
Mission
vital.
critical, one might say.
Is there a time difference between?
Oh, like a time distortion?
Yeah, like is their year like 3 days for us?
Your
Kind of
time will
thing?
begin as soon as you are outside of our lands.
Okay.
Because you will find he does kind of any he does
No,
he clarifies like the time inside of the Greenwood does not pass the same as it does outside. So you will find that very little time has passed in your your normal time zone once you
Oh.
leave our lands.
That's really cool, actually. I was
Well, that
wondering
would've
if
been
it was
good to
some
know,
like.
They weren't going to offer any information that you didn't specifically ask for.
So we have 1 year our time, real
Yeah.
world time, to find the two queens.
Yes. I want to
Okay.
just take a moment. Hob in the chat says that Scrycore sounds like some heavy EDM genre. I listen to Scrycore.
Alan, let's go ahead and do our halftime break.
Yes, I was trying to get to a point where it would make sense. So,
Yeah.
everybody,
Time.
yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in for another fun episode. I hope you all enjoyed it. You can follow us on social media at at Tidewater Cast on Twitter, and we're also on Facebook. Pretty sure I got the Twitter handle right this time. And make sure you we stream every Sunday at 5:30 p.m. Eastern time, more or less every Sunday. So until next time, make sure that fairies do something. I don't know. I was gonna have something clever. I have nothing. I will see you next time, guys.